Good morning, everyone. It's episode 49 of the Fucking Ridiculous podcast, and I am coming to you on a Friday morning. It's about, maybe 7:15 in the morning, so I am trying to get my voice to work so that you guys can not feel like you're listening to a phone sex operator, but it's harder sometimes first thing in the morning. Anyway, I haven't said this in a while, but I just want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing, and please continue to share the podcast with any new friends now that it's summer that you may have. You're at the pool, you changed jobs, you're at your camp, just any friends that you meet that you think might enjoy, ask them to follow or subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple. And on social, we are Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at the FR Pod. It has been an absolute crazy week. From the 8 days that I recorded last, so much has happened. It feels like it's been 2 or 3 weeks, as I'm sure a lot of you are in this boat. But I have, since that time that we spoke last, I have had a baccalaureate. I have had a family tennis memorial day and night, full day affair honoring 2 of the greatest guys that I have ever known. Then I have had yard work out the wazoo, more on that later, to prepare for a graduation party. But before that graduation party, I was able to have a 16-year-old my son turned 16 on the same day that my daughter and nephew were graduating, go to a graduation, survive a shooting, more on that later, and then host a graduation party at our house outside where the air quality was in the red plus zone. So it has been awesome, but it has been a lot. And I'm coming to you late this week because I couldn't stay awake last night to record. So I was like, well, I'm just going to get up early in the morning and do it. So, because that's what you do when you say you're going to do something. So thank you for listening. And I do have some shout outs. Shout out number 1 to the graduates. So my twins, my son, my daughter, and my nephew. He's like a month behind, so it's kind of like raising triplets there. Congratulations to all 3 of you for finishing high school. We have 2 heading to college and 1 going to vocational school. So that is super exciting. Really, really proud of you guys. Number 2, the baby nugget. The baby nugget turned 16. And so unfortunately in the state of Virginia, they changed the law so that you cannot drive on your actual birthday. You have to be 16 and 3 months, which is fucking ridiculous because one of the greatest days of my life was coming home on my 16th birthday because I had such a late birthday and demanding to be taken to DMV to get my license so that I could roll. And so happy B-Day, baby nugget. I love you and you would never be forgotten. Finally, a huge shout out to the neighbor niece's mom, Catherine. She might be one of the best neighbors. We have the best neighbors. And if you are not friends with your neighbors or if your neighbors suck, I am so sorry for you because our neighbors are fucking awesome. And more on this later, but suffice it to say, Catherine is the reason why the quote of the week is, if you want something done and you are most likely going to suck at it and or not get it done, definitely go to the expert and definitely bribe them to do whatever they can do to help you. And that actually worked so well for me this week. I feel like I had a staff of 10 people doing stuff because I just couldn't do it all myself. So delegation is key in success. So maybe that's a part A to the quote of the week. Delegation is the key to success. One last shout out. The favorite had a birthday yesterday. Yes, she did. She did. And she solidified her ranking as the favorite, as she always does. But I'm not going to say I'm jealous, but I do sometimes feel inadequate because I'm just not as great as she is. I don't know what I would do without you in my life. That is for sure. So this week here in Richmond, our kids graduate, and when they're in public school, they graduate in like a larger venue because most of the time the schools are so big. So our kids were graduating at the Siegel Center, which is the basketball arena for VCU. And it's downtown in Richmond. And my daughter needed to be there at whatever time, and she can't drive, but it was at night. And so my other sister-in-law, who I adore, came with me to help me get her there. So we are stopped maybe a block away from the venue, and there are police everywhere. Excuse me while I clear my throat. But I've never been to a graduation at night. And so down there, so I was like, well, maybe this is typical. The police are just like manning traffic. Well, my brother, the Beast, he is a former firefighter, a paramedic, and immediately texts my sister-in-law and is like, are you guys okay? And he sends a link to a shooting that has just happened at another large venue, which is like maybe 4 blocks away from where my daughter's graduation is going to be. Well, we are 2 blocks away from that shooting, and the shooter's at large. And there are very few details, but it is frightening and also just bedlam down there, because now not only are the police trying to do traffic and get everybody safely to where they need to be, now we've got like helicopters going around. We've got more police officers everywhere because there's a shooter at large. And my daughter, she's a wanderer. She will, go where the wind blows. So my sister-in-law, God love her, takes my daughter and gets her situated. And so I'm able to park. It takes forever. The graduation, I thought for sure that they were going to cancel our graduation. They did not. They delayed it, though, to make sure that everybody could actually get in safely, because you couldn't cross a street without being escorted. It was crazy. We come to find out that the shooting actually occurred at another graduation. And there's nothing sadder than having such a special, joyous, momentous occasion and then finding out that one of the graduates and his father were killed, and then there were several others injured, including people like trying to flee the scene and were hit by cars. It's just, Richmond City had to cancel all of the rest of their graduations because of this. It is nonsense. I don't understand. I don't understand at all. And my heart just is so sad for that community, for that family. And I feel so lucky that we got into our graduation. We had our graduation. The police and the administration did a great job, and we got out of there. It was wonderful. But we can't get out without, having some ridiculousness. And I have discussed the fact that my daughter is going through a phase right now where she is basically a criminal. And I'm pretty sure she's going to get arrested soon. And I actually welcome this, because I think she really, really needs to be scared straight. So I get a call from her teacher at the time frame when she's supposed to be in the venue, and I'm parking the car trying to figure out where my sister-in-law is. And her teacher says, we've lost her. We don't know where she is. And I'm like, okay. So I know well enough that she's not going to go outside, but, that's still a little daunting. There are tons of people around. My nephew is also looking for her instead of hanging with his friends on graduation night. And so she's missing for like 25 minutes. Well, I finally get in, and lo and behold, she comes walking on up to me. Hey, Mommy, what's happening? And I'm like, where the fuck have you been? And she's like, oh, yeah, I need to get some water. So that turns out to be a total lie. Her teachers are livid with her. And my nephew is like, oh, my God, whatever. Thank God they were sitting next to one another so he could kind of help her along. But she decided to go up to the concession stand, order a soda, and then promptly look at them and be like, yeah, I don't have any money. And then, of course, they just gave it to her because, oh, she's graduating. Oh, she's so cute. And, yeah, so she causes even more ruckus because she needs to go and, manipulate someone into giving her a soda because she can't go a moment without a fix if she knows that there's a soda nearby. So we're having some serious issues right now, and we're about to take this big family trip. And I just told my husband, I was like, I'm pretty sure she's going to be arrested. And I don't know if that's not the worst thing in the world, because I was like, you're not going to be able to do that in prison. People cut people in prison, from what I hear. So, fucking ridiculous. In the meantime, we are hosting a graduation party for both of my kids and my nephew at our house. And because, we have to get the house ready and we have a yard. And as you can see, this is my yard. And yes, it does look awesome. It does look awesome. We had 20 yards of mulch delivered. And we had 20 yards of mulch delivered last Friday. The quote to spread the mulch was going to be $1,000. And I was like, ooh, I feel like I'm kind of hemorrhaging money right now between graduations and, trips and gifts and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, we've got 5 people in this family. We're going to spread that mulch. It might take a day or two, but we're good. That might not have been the best choice on my part. 20 yards of mulch is basically a single car garage. It's like the size of a single car garage. And that's not small, number one. Number two, fun fact, 20 yards of mulch was not enough for my entire yard, which is fucking ridiculous. And everyone except my husband bitched and moaned when they had to do anything that revolved around cleaning up in the yard. So then that compounded my frustration because I'm like, well, clearly I've just raised spoiled, rotten kids. I think everyone should work a landscaping job to see how hard it is. Because A, it's hard work. B, it's hard work. And C, it's really, really long hours and hot and really hard work. Long and the short of it was I spread about 70%, maybe 65% of that mulch. My husband totally helped when he could, and my boys helped some. But, they had prior commitments and stuff. And my daughter was on stick and pine cone patrol. So it was a family affair. In the midst of all of this, I realized that there are dead plants in my yard, and I suck at plants. If it doesn't have a heartbeat, I cannot take care of it. It will die. It will die. Neighbor niece's mom, I call her and I say, hey, I know you love to go to the plant store. Would you like to go to the plant store and buy some plants for me? I don't care what you pick out. Just buy some plants. And she was like, hell to the yeah. Not only did she go and buy the plants, she planted them for me as well, which was awesome. Awesome. And I'm so grateful. I mean, what a great neighbor, right? And it looks amazing. Our yard looks amazing. Everyone was commenting on it. The moral of that story is, if you want something done, do it yourself. And if you can't do it yourself, then ask someone who you know will not let you down to help you get it done. In the news, we have had a lot going on. More people have put their hat in the ring for the presidential race. I still support Charles Barkley, Chuckles in Charge, hashtag Chuckles in Charge. So go ahead and start doing that as well. Let's get a movement going and at least have some fun this time around. According to the news, Donald Trump, the Don, he's going to be indicted. He's been indicted again for keeping stuff that doesn't belong to him. I don't know what to say about that, but I think we all could learn lessons about being better people and not taking things that aren't ours and not lying or stealing. I am a little sad that the New York Times stole my walk and talk idea. And I know I'm probably not the only person who's ever said that, but they did a whole story about a walk and talk. And I was like, that's my idea. Very upsetting. Stanley Cup playoff update. So after last night in OT, the Florida Panthers finally won. And so now it's 2-1. This Saturday night is going to be game 4, which is always, in my opinion, the best game to be at. I will not be there, sadly, but it's going to be big. So There's still a series now, and I'm excited. Apple Vision goggles came out. They're only $3,500, y'all. What? And what? Like, I don't know. I mean, $3,500 is a lot of money. And I know everybody's talking about it, and I know everyone's saying that they're really awesome. No, not going there. Not going there. Like, I've got bigger things to spend money on than virtual reality glass. I've got a reality to live right now. So I don't need anyone's VR for 35. And then with tax and everything, it's going to be like close to $4,000. What the fuck? CNN is really having a bad time. Really having a bad time. Their CEO, they asked him to leave politely. And there have been a couple of articles about them that have not been great. So according to the news sources, MSNBC and Fox News are definitely way ahead of them. So CNN needs some help right now. They need a summer vacation to pull their shit together, I think. Something that like rocked the golf world is this whole PGA LIV merger. I have read like 3 or 4 different articles about this, and I still can't figure out what the fuck is going on. Here's what I do know. The PGA has a commissioner named Jay Monahan. And he originally said never would he ever merge with them and went back on that. There are several other organizations with different initials that I don't know what they're doing in the mix. People are saying it's actually not a merger, but people are saying it is a merger. People are saying the players are angry. It's all about money. It's supposed to make the game of golf that much better. I don't get it. I don't get it. All I know is that people are upset. People are upset, but here in Richmond, everybody's just going to keep on playing golf like they do, you know? In disgusting news, there are 500,000 feral cats in New York City right now. And that right there is enough to just make me not want to visit, because I don't like cats and cats don't like me. And I just shiver. I shudder. I'm sorry if you're a cat person. I'm not. But we clearly have not only a cat problem, but a rat problem. And I don't understand, because I thought cats eat rats. But if the rats are as big as the cats, then maybe that's a new Fight Club kind of a situation. PETA, don't come after me. It was just a joke. It was just a joke. Beige flags. So I saw this on TikTok like maybe 3 weeks ago or so. But, you know, you have your red flags. It's like, oh, that's caution. You should not proceed, or proceed with caution, really, or just maybe a stop in the dating world. Now they have these things called beige flags. And beige, you know, I'm not a fan of that color anyway. But beige flags are like things that make you like go, take pause with someone as you're dating. And so I've been reading about various beige flags that have come up. And it's fascinating to me that what some people are calling beige flags. One was their boyfriend eats ants that he finds. Now, at first I was like, okay, that's kind of gross. But in other cultures, that is not considered weird at all. So, I mean, okay. I mean, maybe just brush your teeth and mouthwash if you're going to like make out with me, because I definitely don't want ant residue in my mouth. I'm fine. You do you. There was another one that was like somebody gets hyper right before they go to bed and then they keep the person up. And I was like, well, I mean, is that a beige flag, or is that just like maybe they're nervous around you kind of a thing? I think that's an easy talking around. I was thinking about my own beige flags, and I'm sure I have a ton of them, but because most of what I do is stupid and ridiculous anyway, and I'm laughing at myself, I don't even want to ask my husband what mine are. But I will say this. one person in this household does not screw caps on all the way. And that is a beige flag for me because it inevitably creates a mess that I have to clean up because someone didn't screw the Zyrtec bottle on or the Listerine bottle. And so when you take it out, it goes everywhere. So I don't know if that qualifies as a beige flag. I would think more like you don't brush your teeth, or like you only shower once every 3 days, or you use Spanglish all the time. Like those might be beige flags. Or you're shitty to a wait staff. That's a red flag, actually. That's a red flag, Nicole. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I'm so intrigued by this whole dating world for the younger gens because they're so not used to being around one another because everything's so through the screen that they just don't understand what different habits and quirks people have. And they're not exactly like dangerous or off the wall. They're just what people do. So what I'm loving this week, I found this root touch-up because sometimes us girls and guys need a little help if we have, a little spot of like a gray hair. So this is called, from Style Edit, and it's called Blonde Perfection. Blonde Perfection. And it is like, you take this little thingy here and you like rub it onto the, I wish I could do it, but well, anyway, to your roots, and it covers them up and it helps them be perfectly blonde. And so that's what I'm loving this week. So I was talking with my interns about GPT, and they were telling me that they use it actually a lot and they really enjoy it. And so I, yesterday, was like, well, I'm going to get in on the action. And I have mixed reviews right now because, one, yes, it does have a lot of information, but it's actually too much information. So I don't know if I'm the one that's not asking the right questions. I asked for a packing list, and it was extremely detailed and a bit too much. So then I asked for a shorter one, and it didn't really do what I wanted it to do. I then asked for an anti-bloating diet before I get on a plane for a really long time. And it did give me one of those, which I will print out and read and look at because I need all the help I can get on that one. I then asked about the PGA Live merger, and I have been told that it cannot help me with anything that happened after September of 2021, I believe, which seems useless to me. I did ask it a few other questions just to test what was happening. I asked about what was 20 yards of mulch equivalent to. And I had to ask it like 4 different times because it wasn't giving me the answer that I wanted. And I finally was able to get the single car garage. So that was helpful, but a big time waster because I couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do. I did ask how to do a proper BJ, and it did give me a very, very long list. It was useful, but long. Like, I need ChatGPT to be more succinct. So the answers were okay. My results were mixed on that for sure. So maybe it's just me and I'm not using it properly. I will get back to you and see how it can help us in our real lives. Otherwise, I'm just going back to Google. I was happy with that one. My family, my 5 and my brother's 5, we are about to go to Hawaii. And I know that sounds really fun and glamorous, but we lost my mom a year and a half ago, and she wanted, in lieu of like a funeral or anything that was related to that, she wanted us to take a trip to Hawaii since none of us had been and spread some of her ashes there. Shh, don't tell anyone because I know it is frowned upon. So we are taking this trip, and I am super excited. I am beyond stressed about like getting there and like what we need to do and how we do it well. And also the fact that it's like the most expensive place I think we've ever traveled before. But again, this was on my mom's time, so we are very lucky about that. I am hoping that we have the best time. I am hoping that we can get out of here. I will be documenting my travels because, as we know, people don't know how to fly anymore and they don't know how to act out in public. So this should be a wonderful, wonderful experience. So I hope to have like a story each day in lieu of having the podcast. But in the words of Simple Minds, don't you forget about me. Don't. I will see you in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. In the meantime, remember, it is all going to be fine. It is all going to be fine. And I will miss you. And thanks again for listening.